Let's talk about the bulls. What are they planning? Now, I tell you something. The sudden reaction back up to 30K, that broke the first fan line. Chances are high. The difference is there is a support they are laying on. We cannot be ignorant of that support is when we go to 4 hours, we see the hammer they placed on that support. It's like a hook. Beautiful fellow crypto adventurers and lovers of this market. It's your favorite jungle guide, Bitcoin Gorilla, and I'm here to be taking you on a wildest Bitcoin analysis where we're going to be breaking down and understanding what are the chances of this bull's survival and what are the chances of the bear's survival. Now, I don't care what side you are on, whether you're a bull or a bear. I'm just going to break down what I see. Then you make the decision yourself. Remember, this is no financial advice, so hold on to your bananas because this is going to be a trailing roller coaster. We see that the bulls have struggled and the bears also have struggled. Of who is going to hold the 28,500 support, as bulls are catastrophically doing their best to make sure they don't lose it. They are calling on battalion and backup as they find themselves retesting the 30K only to return back to the 28,800. Now they are currently around the 29,900. I remember Bitcoin Gorilla. If you're new, you are welcome to this channel. And if you are a returning subscribers, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time for coming back. To the price range of 29K is the real deal because anything that crosses below 28,500, we definitely see 27K to 27,500 range. So we're going to be starting by analyzing what the bears are capable of doing. We see that the bears broke a very important support to the bulls, which is the 29,400, right? 28,400 to 28,600 is a very important support range. The reason being that this support range has returned a move up, a move to form another beautiful new high. So if we had this as a retest, then why are we having a new high? Asking the bears. It means the chances of the bears is reducing and they are struggling to hold the bulls down. That's my first sign of the bulls' strength and pressure. Minimum of 2 touches when I'm creating a fan line. On a lower time frame, we see that the bulls have challenged the bears countlessly by breaking their first fan trend line. So you see it here, I highlighted it with an A and a B. So at the high line, we see the first fan trend line forming by the bears. So we see their first touch was 31,900 and their second touch was around 31,400. This is where they created the fan line, and I need 2 touches on this trend line to qualify it as a trend line, right? 3 touches even makes it stronger. But what happened on the third attempt? There was a reaction from the bulls. Now, the first time when they formed this downtrend line, that was when they broke a very important support area, right? They retested it, but they missed the trend line, of which they return back to. Of course, if every gap gets covered, right? So they returned to it, even made it above the trend line, got rejected by my horizontal line around 29,400 and around 29,500 range, and dive all the way down to 28,500 range. Now, this is very important because the bulls reacted fast and broke the trend line. They did return back to retest the broken trend line, which is here. Don't get it twisted. Why? Because of the second bear line that has been formed. Why? The second bear line formed here, right? Remember, we said 2 touches is what we need, and it's still corresponding to the 31,900 resistance. Of course, they have returned. We cannot conclude that this second bear line is already in play until they break below the last low. So as long as these bulls maintain above 28,500, the chances of them reacting upward is high because of the current first broken fan line. Now, the bears, do they have a chance? Yes, of course, they do have a chance. Why do I say so? As long as the price stays below 31,400, there is a drag between the buyers and sellers. And this is a very important point of control is lying somewhere around here, this price range. For bulls to succeed in continuing the move up, they must come back and enter this blue area. So we see that the second trend line rejection lies around 29,500 right here. If the bears must continue, they must take Bitcoin below 28,500. If the bulls must continue, they must take Bitcoin above 30K. The bulls are the ones with the chance here. The bulls have the chance to attain the 29,500 for a clearer rejection. I somehow expect them to get rejected here and go down to complete their leg retest before the move could continue, right? To 32K. That is the BS plan. Their chances is still hanging. And I will tell you by the end of this video who is going to win the war. First thing I will tell you is the fact that they broke the first fan line is a sign of weakness from the bears. Take this analysis to the daily chart. It really gets interesting because I am concerned about the sideways that is happening on the higher time frame, because the lower time frame here for the short period, but what about 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now? What happens throughout the rest of the month of August? So this takes me to the daily chart. If I look at the daily chart, I'm quite impressed by the amount of dojis and inverted hammers, in fact, that I'm seeing on the current support. Because here's the thing, my argument: if these bears are still going to go lower than they have so far, then literally why are they consolidating below a broken support? That is a very important question, because this support on the daily of the 29,400 to 29,600 range was broken successfully with this strong bearish candle. But after the breakdown of that candle, we see a retest, and after the retest, the number of dojis were consecutively over 6 dojis. In fact, actually is 7 dojis that formed a day after. Now, if you know what dojis are a sign of sideways movement, a sign of a strong range on a lower time frame. So you can see this particular money capital lying within this range, right? So we see a sign of capital. Now here is the funny thing about the moves and the structure of the candles, and why I say the bulls are literally existing within this range, and likely price is going to attack that second seller's line. With this very compressed range, we see that there was a breakdown to the lower side first, but there was a retaliation from the bulls. I think this was on the 1st of August. We see Bitcoin breaking the 28,800 support to make its way to 28,500. But on the same day, it retracts back above the same range to what? 29,700 to 29,800 range. What does that tell you? The bulls were present. And this retaliation, and since this retaliation, the bears have been trying to take them below that support, and there's been a complete failure. I think the bulls have almost 60 to 65% chances of conquering this particular market. So when I say that this is a doji, this has a longer tail for me. So I'm referring to it as a doji because the next day was an inside bar, which is also a hammer. This is multiple dojis. Failure, 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 failure is all I smell from the bears. Why? They will try to break below the support of 28,800. This opportunity to take a long, in fact, I think it's best to buy incrementally because this support needs to hold. So currently, the weekly chart is closing in the next 11 hours, and we're going to start the second week of August. Now, the thing about this is currently they have been able to attain 50% pullback of the pump of this breakout. So this particular candle made a move, but it has already retracted 50%. Now, a lot of Fibonacci traders and Elliott wave traders believe that the best retracement in every move or a trust is 50%, right? Sometimes you're going to get 65%, but 50% is mostly agreed by most scholars. So for me, I also like believing in 50%, and the chances are high that if the bulls can close the weekly chart above 28,800, at least 28,800, if they can close above that price, In fact, it will be more beautiful if they can close above 29K. If they can close and hold this BS down for the next 11 hours, then the chances are high that the next opening candle, which is in few hours time, is going to open, probably pull a little bit down and then move back up. And that would be our candle that will be taking us all the way to that 29,600, if not 30K. Now, like I said, it's important they enter into this blue range, right? I want them in the blue range and hold the bears within that range. If they can hold the break, even if they are going to range further, let them range after entering that 34,400 range. What it's like to hold Bitcoin throughout the month of August. I see bullish. September, mind you, is going to get a little bit bloody down here. Thank you for watching.
Worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.